This segment we're going to be discussing Sunak getting absolutely slapped over the 2K tax lie.
You've got a bit of a nerve, haven't you, having a go at the Labour Party? You've raised our taxes by record amounts, £93 billion. You produce some figures, criticised by the boss of the Treasury, criticised by the chair of the UK Statistics Authority, criticised by the former head of the civil service. And yet you come to this interview and you repeat something that you've said that they all think is misleading.
He's seething right now. The anger in his face. Bro went with the...
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
He thought he could get away with it for the whole campaign.
Because it's right. And the choice of this election is clear. We are going to keep cutting people's taxes. You'll see that in our manifesto tomorrow. You've seen it in the announcements that we've already made. Labour Party are going to put people's taxes up. We have been through their policies.
That independent Treasury officials had costed Labour policies. Yes. Independent Treasury officials didn't produce that figure that you keep repeating.
So there are 27 policies, as the letter from the Permanent Secretary...
The thing is, the Spectator of all papers actually did a similar calculation to what Sunak is talking about now, with the figures from the Tory Party manifesto, and it would cost everyone £3,000 more in taxes. You don't divide up policies by costs like that. It doesn't make any sense. They're adding up all of Labour's policies and dividing them by the amount of people that there are. It doesn't make sense. That's not how policies are funded.
Prime Minister.
Let me explain. There are 27 different policies that underpin that figure.
Also the fact that the Tories are pushing the idea that they're going to, get rid of national insurance contributions. How the hell are they going to fund that?
Those 27, 21 are produced by independent Treasury officials, available online for people to see. 3 come from other government sources.
This is the government giving them those figures and saying, what is the impact of this? That's what he's done here.
2 come from the Labour Party themselves, and 1 comes from an independent investment bank. Every single one of them is available, transparent, and you top them all up, and it amounts to £2,000 worth of tax rises for every working family in our country.
Yeah, when you say
the
top them all up, what you mean
in
is
our
when
election.
Tory researchers top them all up, treat 4 years of figures as if it's 1 year, divide it between all the families, which no economist would ever do. You then produce a Conservative press release, and you claim that it's been produced by the Treasury.
You brief the press, or you run it as a press release, the press run with it, and then you go off the Times or the Express or whoever publishes it. That's the Tory strategy. That's what they do. They either brief the press, they'll leak stories to them, or they'll release press statements, and then the press runs with those statements, and then they try and make it as though it becomes a fact. You see it in football transfers all the time. You always have to look for the original source.
When it hasn't. It's a Conservative figure.
Let's go through it again, Nick.
No,
there are 27. There are 27.
Something else.
Well, no. But you've made a point. Which
it's like you've used this stuff as like Oxford Union debates, where you can just keep making things up.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Like that's not how the real world works, Sunak, I'm afraid.
Isn't right. There are 20.
When you step outside the House of Commons, when you have journalists who actually know how to do their job, like this gentleman actually does it for once, you will get pulled up on stuff.
27 figures, 27 policies, 21 of them are costed by the Treasury, 2 of them are from the Labour Party themselves, 3 from government sources, and 1 from an independent investment bank. Okay. You top them all up, divided by the number of households, and that's how you get 2,000.
It's literally not how it works, though, because they've come up with other funding schemes for the policies. Labour keep talking about fully funded manifesto. That's really unambitious, but they keep talking about this, where they're going to get the money from. So this whole attack makes zero sense, because he's making the argument as though Labour are going to put up taxes to fund their policies, when Labour have argued the opposite. How feasible these policies are, I'm not 100% sure, but the argument that they're going to put everyone's tax up by 2k is complete nonsense.
£94 for every working family in our country, and I don't want to see that happen. And that is what the Labour Party will do.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what.
It's just an embarrassing display. Like the fact that this lie has been debunked so many times. It was debunked literally in front of his face, and he goes, "Nope, that's not true," and he carries on lying. It's just wild to me. And I think journalists need to keep bringing this up and keep pointing out the fact that it's a lie and call it what it is. It's a lie. It's a lie, straight up. So this is how desperate they are, but they always do nonsense like this at elections, always, because they always want to scare people. There's always the stigma around the Labour Party that they're going to put people's taxes up, and so the Tory Party feed into that stigma constantly And, you know, if people are dumb enough to fall for it, then there's a reason why public service in this country are a disaster, because they keep trusting the Conservatives with it. Because, you know, on the face of it, you know, there are enough people who just refuse to want to pay more in taxes to fund public services. That's one of the main problems we have here. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.